let us take word from the Holy Bible. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12, King James Version. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Our guest here today knows all about wrestling against flesh and blood and bringing home a state championship for the St. Xavier Tigers. Sir, if you would, introduce yourself.
Billy Redmon, 152-pound state champion from St. Xavier High School.
Class of 2000, correct?
Class of 2000.
It's hard to believe that was 23 years ago.
Don't talk
now,
like that.
We're filming this on January 26, 2023, and I think I could, because we're just a little over a year into the State Championship Review Series, I think you were one of the first people to reach out to me when it kind of hit the masses after George King and Bruce Stepp's video. Everybody kind of started, seeing it and realizing what we were doing, the stories we were trying to tell. You reached out. We've been trying to get up with each other for a year now.
Yeah.
And today's the day, man. We finally was able to, make the trip, and we got together. So I have to ask, and this is a standard question that everybody gets, is how do you get into wrestling?
Honestly, probably watching Wonder Years and Saved by the Bell.
AC Slater,
yeah,
man.
AC Slater.
AC Slater. I found on that I wore my Saved by the Bell shirt. So AC Slater, you see him on your TV, Saved by the Bell. Zach, he's got, Kelly Kapowski. He's got Jesse Spano, all the girls on him, all that kind of stuff all the time. So is that what, man, if I get on the wrestling team, man, that's where it's at, right?
Yeah, man, it seems like they both wrestle 145, Fred Savage's character and AC Slater, and the irony is that's the one weight class I skipped.
Uh-oh. Well, that's the way it usually the universe works it out. So what grade do you start wrestling in? Like elementary school, middle school?
No, freshman year.
Freshman in high school? Wow. Huh. So, well, of course, we're going to go over your bracket. So that's kind of I think Jim Shaw's kind of the same way. He started in high school, maybe like as a sophomore or junior, and he ended up winning state championship as a senior. So it's kind of cool that, I don't know if you could do that nowadays because kids are starting so early.
Yeah.
But that's still quite an accomplishment from starting. I guess you knew what wrestling was, right? Mm-hmm. Did St. X recruit guys to come? Of course, it's an all-boys school, correct?
Yeah, they didn't recruit guys to come.
Well, let me rephrase that question, Your Honor. Counsel, let me motion to strike. You're in St. X, you're walking the halls. Are the coaches or other wrestlers saying, hey, man, you thought about joining the wrestling team? Or is it just like you have family lineage, hey, you're wrestling? How does it go at St. X, for the people that's not familiar with that?
It's been almost 30 years, I guess, now. But
30, yeah.
It seems like there might have been an activity fair or something like that where they each had a booth for all the sports.
I got you. When you think of the top 5 athletic programs in the state of Kentucky, St. X is always going to be at the top. Maybe not every single year, but consistently throughout the history of the KHSAA, every year you look, St. X is going to win multiple, whether it's golf, swimming. I think they've had
swimming, yeah.
Yeah, they've won they might as well just name it the St. X Invitational. They've won from 87 or whatever it is all the way to present. But St. X is always winning. Like I said, golf, individual or team, tennis, individual or team, soccer, is always right there. And, St. X, like I said, top 5 athletic programs in the state of Kentucky, 3 wrestling team titles. We're going to talk about that here just in a second. But, so you get into, as a freshman, and St. X has a great history. We're going to go over that just in a second. We wrestled with Isaac Knable, and I would have to imagine Tendai Cherisika is still a name that's going around St. X because he was a 3-timer.
He was the one everybody remembered when I was there. He was right before me. And
of course, Tendai's a 3-time. We've met with Tendai, wonderful, phenomenal dude. His videos are, of course, got that trademark dark green and gold color, as all the video thumbnails do, as we like to represent everybody's school with the right coloration. That way you can be more familiar with it. But in 1999, you make it to the state tournament. You're a junior, 152 pounds. You get 6th place. Mm-hmm. And, of course, you place, but coming into a senior year, is it the mindset of I'm winning a state championship or bust, or what's the thought process after the season ends? You know, it's your last go around. What's your thought process on the upcoming season?
I mean, it really wasn't. The thing that changed between those 2 years, I figured out a near side cradle could turn into a far side cradle.
And a little peek into the future on that. But so you basically perfected a couple moves, or not perfected, but you got good at a couple moves, and it basically changed the course of your wrestling.
Yeah, my wrestling style did not fit with the style they were teaching at.
I got you.
Time.
I completely understand that.
Primary takedown was a neck wrench. I could hit a duck under.
Right.
I could occasionally do a single leg.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the ground, it was my junior year. It was always near side cradle.
I got
and
you.
then senior year, I learned you could step over and roll them up.
And like I said, the preview of things to come, if you can read the tea leaves on that. But before we go any farther, let's go over St. X's storied individual and team wrestling history. Now, doing my research, I've got St. X with 26 individual state champions. We start off in 1974, 98 pounds, Mark Well, and 126 pounds, Danny Pasfume. 75, 105 pounds, Mark Well. 1978, 119 pounds, Chris Heverin. 1987, Mark Ullman, 126 pounds. Chris Zenner, we've done Chris Zenner's video. 1989, 103 pounds. 1990, 130, St. X original, Greg Krasik. 1994, 95, and 96, Tendai Charasika. All of his videos are on the channel. 97, 103 pounds. Dave, help me with the last name. I don't want to miss
Cobflash.
Cobflash. Okay, I'm glad you said that. Now we get into your decade here, your generation. 99, 112 pounds, Isaac Knable. 2000, you guys had, now we're going to talk about this in long form just in a second, so bear with me. You guys had 3 state champions that year. You had Isaac at 130, you at 152, and heavyweight Will Rabatine, right?
Yep.
2001, Isaac wins it again, and 152 pounds, Zach Steinbach.
Yep.
2002, Isaac wins it again. 2010, John Lampy. 2011, John Lampy. 2014, Justin Lampy and Dominic Lampy, 150, 260 pounds respectively. 2013, 145 pounds, Justin Lampy, and most outstanding wrestler that year, Gabriel French. 2019, Nathan Wheeler, 145 pounds, and 2021, 113 pounds, Matthew Meyer. Now, 26 state champions. Let's go back to 1998 real quick. St. X wins the team title. I know you're on the team, but you don't make it to the state tournament. Is that correct?
No, I was JV that year.
Okay, but you're still, though, a part of the St. X wrestling program. Mm-hmm. All right, so that's good. Now, St. X wins the competition going away pretty much. Team point total, 161. Covington Scott, 146.5, so they win it pretty handily. There have been bigger point spreads, but that's still a pretty comfortable win. I would say by the time the finals start, they was already, celebrating that they'd won.
Do you know the twist that year?
What's that?
We didn't have any individual.
Well, that was I actually have that wrote down.
Gotcha.
There's been 5 teams. Now, I don't think we've went over all 5 on the channel so far, but one of the beautiful parts about doing this series is bringing out this history, is bringing out facts that people may not be aware of. There's been 5 teams in the KHSAA history that's won the team title and not had an individual state champion. 1978, North Hardin. 1979, Boone County. We met with the Boone County team on the channel already. 1989, Louisville Trinity. Those daggone Trinity Shamrocks, right? Yeah. 1995, Sheldon Clark. They had 4 in the finals, but all 4 got beat. In 1998, St. Xavier. Now, in 98, there was 11 placers. 11 people made the podium. All 14 made it, but there was 11 place winners. So there's proof. You really don't always need a state champion. It's good to have one, but there's been 5 teams to not have a state champion but still win the team title.
And you and I were talking about wrestlebacks earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like that year, everybody contributed. We had a guy wrestling with a broken collarbone.
Oh, my.
I think it was 135.
Huh. So he's a pretty tough guy, huh?
Yeah.
Now, in 99, Woodford County wins the team title. They had a great team. Chris Dunn, Josh Whitaker. They had several good guys on that team. They win it going away, 157.5 to 111. So we got St. X right there at the end of the 90s with a team championship and a runner-up. We get into 2000. Now, before I go with this, we've done a lot of guys from 2000. 2000, of course, when I wrestled in one of my years. We've met with Isaac, 130 pounds. We've done Michael Jackson's Memorial, 135 pounds. George King, 171 pounds. Bo Hoffman, 108, one of those daggone Trinity Shamrocks.
Hey, I always like Bo.
Bo's a heck of a dude. I love Bo. I know St. X Trinity has that big rivalry going on. And 215, Aaron Reardon from Oldham County. Mm-hmm. Probably one of the roughest, toughest 215 matches you'll ever see. But in 2000, you guys are making a run to the state championship, team title. Like I said, you had 3 on the podium, 3 champions, I should say, on top of the podium. Isaac at 130, you at 152, and Will at heavyweight. Mm-hmm. Now let me read the team scores. Now St. X, don't kill the messenger, and I know this is going to be difficult, but just bear with me. In third place, LaRue County, 117 points. It was pretty much a 2-horse race the whole tournament. St. Xavier, 143. Woodford County, 145.5.
Yep.
2.5 points, man.
They put it on their lockers the next year to motivate them. We won state duels.
Right.
And so it was a big head-to-head thing.
Yeah, and of course, we'll kind of spoil a little bit, but you wrestle a Woodford County guy. We'll go to this in a second. Mm-hmm. But 2.5 points, you're a senior. Isaac said that he would give up all 4 of his individuals for 4 team titles. Now, I mean, winning individual is great, winning the team title is great, but man, it's hard. I mean, I don't know if I could say that or not. Of course, I never won it. I can't say anything, but it's hard to, like looking on the outside looking in saying, would you really give up your individual awards for the greater good of the team? And Isaac, said he would, but 2.5 points, man.
2.5 points.
2.5 points. That's, maybe somebody pins, gets a major. So if you score as many points as you can, always score as many points as you can, because you don't want to be on, like this past year, of course, Union won the team title. Johnson, if memory serves me right, Johnson Central come in second, 138.5. Ryle, third place, 138. Half a point separated second, third place. Yep. So that could be a major, a tech fall, just something. Always try to score as many points as you can for the team.
So what's the difference? Because I don't remember the point system. What is the difference? Could one match have made a difference in consoles at that point?
It depends on how they won and what place they would have got, probably.
Gotcha.
So then, of course, in 2001, St. Xavier goes on to win it going away, 158.5, and they beat LaRue County at 124. So you kind of got sandwiched in there.
Yep.
Your 2 years of art, you were on the team in 97, 98, 99, 2000. But the year that I guess you didn't make it to state, they won it. The year after you graduate, they leave. So I think you should be an honorary St. Xavier team championship member, because, you pretty much in 2001, I think your practice partner, Zach,
yep.
Is that correct?
He was my JV counterpart.
And, of course, he went to him and Isaac both. And, without you, man, kicking his rear end every day, maybe they don't win it.
There's another way you could look at it, though. The 2 years that I was varsity, we didn't win state in between 2 state titles. I could be the curse.
I'm trying to help you out here. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get you up on that St. Xavier team banner. But either way. Now, enough of that. Let's go over your bracket, because you're coming in from the previous year, 1999, 6th place. You start off the day with a teammate of mine, and I know I hate to say
really?
that. Now, John Wayne Daniels, Johnson Central, you win that by a tech fall, 19-3. And then Damian Level's 1999 video, Damian beats him first round as well. So it was kind of weird. I was doing research. I was like, wow, man, I remember, following this like it wasn't track back then. It was, I guess, the KHSAA was updating the website. But you start off with a tech fall, 19-3. You go on to the quarters. You're wrestling Craig Cooper from Simon Kenton. And
scrappy kid.
They're good up there, man. You win that by a fall, 5 minutes, 13 seconds. And thing about Craig is he goes on 2002. He stays at 152, and wins the individual championship for Simon Kenton. So the Coopers, man, we're going to be doing a whole video session with them. We've reached out, and we're going to set up a day and go up there and visit with them and do, everybody we got videos for. People's going to travel in. So I'm really excited about getting to go up and get Simon Kenton on the channel. You go to the semis. You're wrestling Jeremiah Gyron from Connor. You win that by 12-1 decision. Jeremiah goes on to get third place. Now, we've been to Connor, Coach Bedetta, all those guys up there, Matt Shotwell, the Coles, Jeff Lawrence, all those guys. Connor's got a great program. They just do. Coach Bedetta is a phenomenal guy. Couldn't ask for a better coach. If I had kids and I lived in that area and Coach Bedetta was around like a youth program, I'd say, hey, you're going to Wayne Bedetta's camp. You're doing this. Because Connor's just got a great program.
Gyron was the guy I was terrified of.
Yeah.
He was the best technical guy in the class, and referee Barnett still used to tell this story. He came down to the hotel lobby, and I was walking around in circles saying, I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose.
I was doing a little bit of research on the other brackets too. All four guys here in the semis were all seniors.
Really?
Of course, you're a senior. Jeremiah's a senior. Ryan Luna from Paducah Tillman's a senior, and of course the guy you're going to be wrestling, we'll talk about this in a sec, he's a senior as well. So all four guys in the semi. So this is a phenomenal bracket, tough bracket. You're going to the finals. You win a 12-1 decision over Jeremiah Gyron. You're going into the finals wrestling Woodford County's Ralph Lay. Now Ralph, great wrestler, 1998 6th place, 145 pounds. 1999, 4th place, 145 pounds. He makes the bump to 152. Now, had you wrestled Ralph before the finals?
I want to say I'd wrestled him 3 times.
Oh, wow.
First 2 duels, I know, and it seems like there was another, stuck him with the cradle. And then the one at the Dragon Invitational,
right?
I tech fought him. I got 19-4, I think, but
wow.
I could not pin him. Couldn't get the cradle.
And now, of course, when we wrestled, it was districts, regions, state. Now it's regions, like semi-state, state tournament. And what's cool about this is, well, I won't say cool, but what would be an interesting little factoid is if you guys wrestled now, you would have wrestled in semi-state probably.
Really? Because
the St. X, Louisville regions and the Woodford County regions now are in the same semi-state.
Okay.
Like regions 1 through 4, this year like I said, this is the 2023 because in case we don't want to date ourselves, but the 2023 region 1 or semi-state 1 will be held this year at Atherton, and the second semi-state will be held at Ryle in Northern Kentucky. So regions 1 through 4 go to semi-state 1, regions 5 through 8 go to semi-state at Ryle this year is where it's at. And
so does that mean that only one of us would have made it then?
Oh, no. I'm just like saying you guys probably would have met up before then because there's not necessarily placement rounds like who gets first semi-state. It's just it eliminates, process of elimination.
Gotcha.
The top 8 go from each semi-state to make a 16-man bracket. But so you wrestled him before, and before we get into the match though, we have a few things that we're going to show you. Now, before we met and got the date lined out, I took a screenshot from the match. You look like an absolute monster. You look like, Hulk Hogan, Brock Lesnar, Ultimate Warrior, any of the 90s, 80s, I don't want to say anabolic enhanced professional wrestlers, but you can just tell, man, you're a strong, powerful dude. And when I posted the photo, one of our officials, Jason Sidoris, he posted that you might be the strongest wrestler he's ever seen. And that's coming from Jason. Jason's been around the game a long time. That's saying something. So what does one do to acquire that strength? Do you have anything to show for it?
Yeah, so I was not technically gifted. I always had decent instincts. That's the other thing that changed.
Right.
From junior to senior year is I'd always been involved in powerlifting, but I started taking it really seriously.
Right.
And,
okay, that was the word I was wanting you to say, powerlifting.
So yeah, here's I won 2 national titles, one of them after high school. This is title number 1 at 16, 17, 148.
Now, what were the lists?
What, sir?
What were your power, like what were your actual, like was it bench press?
Squat,
Squat.
bench, and deadlift.
Okay, so three pillars of bodybuilding, powerlifting, whatever. And
Deadlift was always the one I was best at. In my career, I think I broke two American and 3 national records in the deadlift.
Wow. What was the weight? Do you remember?
Last one I did was in college. It was 651.
Gee, God Almighty. Age group 16, 17, first place, 148 pounds in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yep.
Pretty cool. Here, I'll cover me up, so we won't cover Billy up. But now you've also got something else pretty cool. What else you got there?
Yeah, so I didn't get a ring for individual wrestling, and I have no idea where either my state medal or my ring for the 98 team are, but I did get a ring for powerlifting nationals.
But of course it says national champion, which is kind of cool. I mean, that is amazing. USA, let's say powerlifting.
Yep.
It's got, of course, your name on it, 148, and it's the St. Xavier logo, that traditional X with the T in front of it. Man, that's very recognizable. With the what exactly is St. X's like true green color? Do you know what it's called? It's like an emerald?
I have no idea.
Okay, well, I'll have to do some research. My crack research department myself didn't look that up, so we'll have to look that up. I'm sure somebody will put it in the comments. But
I tell you, that's one more thing that changed is powerlifting. We cut weight a little bit differently. Probably couldn't do it now, but we dehydrated. And so I was cutting between 20 and 24 pounds every week.
For powerlifting?
For wrestling.
Okay, I was going to say, my goodness.
But powerlifting, I learned how to do it in about a day and a half by just spitting, getting all the water out of my body, which didn't affect strength over time.
It's
miserable, but you keep your strength.
I think the statute of limitations have passed. So you're saying you cut about 20 pounds as a senior, so you walked around probably about, 180, 175, something like that?
170 to 174.
God almighty, man, that's a lot of weight to cut. Like I said, statute of limitations have passed. This may or not have happened. We can't confirm or deny. So it's cool though, man. Powerlifting. And Chris Perry, we met with Chris Perry from Christian County, 2004 state champion, 125 pounds. And he said he was in, I'm not sure exactly what, because the powerlifting is not like a KHSAA sport. No. I guess you guys have to do it like a league or a club or whatever. But he said that he had, I guess, broke like a couple Kentucky records with at his weight group or his age or whatever, however it goes. So there's a lot to be said for, being strong.
Coach Kressig was the head coach of powerlifting when I was a freshman. And then he took over from Gehring with wrestling. Coach Traub was really always the guy that did the club program.
I got you. Now, talked about powerlifting when we went over your bracket. How long has it been since you've seen your video?
About at least 15 years.
And this was one of the first batches of videos that we got in our quest, I guess, if you will, to preserve Kentucky wrestling history and just meet with guys like this and be able to tell stories and how much how much you put into it. I mean, how much the powerlifting, the cutting the weight. I mean, cutting weight's not the funnest thing you'll ever do in your life. I mean, there are more enjoyable things that you can do with your time than cutting weight. But I mean, I guess for a lot of people, man, you make that commitment to yourself. I've done it this far. I'm seeing this thing through.
Well, it was always kind of neat seeing how much I was able to drop.
Well, yeah. And, you see some of these, MMA fighters, boxers, and until like the show The Ultimate Fighter that come on, like Spike TV or whatever it was, had the phenomenal fight with Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner, RIP Stephen Bonner now. But people just didn't see, unless you wrestled or competed in a sport, you didn't really know what cutting weight was.
Yeah.
I mean, it showed the guys, having to cut weight, having to make weight, having to go to the scales, and a commission, guy there, right there at the scale. Oh, nope, you're over. Come off, take your underwear, take your socks off, whatever it is. Okay, you're on weight. And she's showing the guys just going in the sauna and just laying, doing push-ups, doing set-ups, doing whatever they had to do. I'm sure a lot of it got cut by the insurance agencies or whoever, the Spike TV, they didn't want certain things shown. Like you said, it's not healthy for somebody to drop 25 pounds and, however many days they had to do it for the show or get ready for a fight. But if you didn't live that life, you just didn't know just how much work went into weight cutting.
When you and I were talking about Michael Jackson earlier, we always got on, as much as St. X and Woodford were rivals, we got on well. It's one of the times I remember best is I had to drop. I dropped my weight and I was like 1.5 pounds over, and I had to cut that 1.5 pounds in the 30 minutes before weigh-ins ended. And I got sick.
Yeah.
And Michael Jackson was actually stuck around in the locker room with me and was like, "You okay, man?"
Yeah. The stories I've heard about Michael Jackson, man, I'm so glad that we were able to do his memorial video, have his parents there, Coach Carr and Coach Parks there. Just such a phenomenal. I never got to meet Michael. Unless we were at a meet in passing, I never met Michael, but just stories I've heard, stories like that is just, phenomenal guy. So enough of us talking. We're going to go back to the dungeon and watch you wrestle under the lights and see if the outcome's still the same. You ready?
Sounds good.
Let's go. You guys are seeing what we're seeing. Woodford County in that trademark bleach blonde, Eminem, Slim Shady, Marshall Mathers blonde hair, and you in that traditional St. X dark green and gold singlet. Now, first time, of course, in the state finals. Does Isaac come to you? Does anybody from St. X, had one before that were there, come to you and say, "Hey, do you know you're chasing the team title points?" Just what's all going through your thought process whenever they announce, "Now wrestling on the main mat, 152 pounds"?
So the entire team went to a restaurant in between, and then the three of us, Zeke, Rabatine, and me, went back to the hotel, just chilled, just calmed down for about an hour. You mentioned the first round match against that kid from Johnson Central. I took a while to get going, and the way I got going is I was always motivated by fear of losing. And so that story with Barnett, run around in circles, I'm going to lose. Like that actually helped me, except when I didn't. And sometimes I got my head all screwed up. So Tony Perry from Valley, he wrestled 103 from Valley, was actually the guy who 4 or 5 times throughout the tournament, whenever he'd see me huddled in a corner scared, he'd come over, "Billy, you're doing fine."
Yeah. No, it's good that I guess people refresh my memory because it all kind of runs together. Were there rankings out in your era? Were you ranked 1, 2, 5, 19? Did you keep up with it?
Oh yeah. No, and I'll tell you right now, part of building confidence, because I was beating people left and right, but part of building the confidence that I could actually do this, win the state championship, was when I got ranked 1.
Okay, I got you.
Because Jeremiah Geyer and Nathan Schmidt from Connor and Campbell County had been trading the first place back and forth.
Let's see here. Who from Campbell County?
Nathan Schmidt. I think he lost early.
He got beat by Ryan Luna in a close 2-1 decision. So, and if I'm not mistaken, Chris Dunn wrestled Ryan Luna in 1999. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's accurate because I know he wrestled Paducah Tillman guy. Chris is a 3-timer from Woodford County. But now, before you go out, you've seen Isaac win it.
Oh, yeah.
But when you guys were chilling, when you're back, if you never were at the dungeon, behind where the head score table was, there was a warm-up mat. You guys back there, was he man, this is unlike anything, or just do what you know, or what's he telling you?
No, I was actually, when he came off the mat, high five, but I was sitting there just getting scared of losing the match.
I got you. Okay, I got you. Now, above you in weight, you had Derek Trowbridge from Union County. And so was 152 your weight all year? You just
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, 152. So I was 160 early on. I was always a light 160. 152 was the weight I wanted to do, and really it's more of an OCD thing. That was the weight I wrestled varsity the year before.
I got you. No, that makes sense. Now, St. X, chasing the team title, you're going to do your part to make sure that you're going to bring that big state. That's still the best state championship trophies. That big state cut out. That's the best. I mean, there's no such a unique trophy or designed for a state championship. You're cut out of the state. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better. So we're under the lights. Best atmosphere the KHSAA has ever produced. I'll argue that. Even with the boys' Sweet 16 at Rupp, this was the best.
Yeah.
This was the best. So we're going to go back. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Okay,
so we're in for some boredom here. There was something he was doing different, and it seems, in my memory, it seems like he loaded up on his left leg, but he's not. There was something he was doing differently that threw me off, and so
I got you.
The entirety of the first period, like, this is it.
Mm-hmm. So you try a shot there. He was able to back out.
Mm-hmm.
You've got some guns, mister, and I'm not talking about pew-pews and bang-bangs. I'm talking you got some biceps and triceps and going on. It's like you're in powerlifting or something, man.
There you go.
If somebody didn't know any better.
That was sloppy.
So have you got a lot of, like, family in the crowd?
Yeah, a couple people.
Here in a second, I think we'll hear
He's
that.
switching, isn't he?
Maybe. Looks like he's...
Yeah, because
Yep.
right there, he's back
Yep.
and forth.
He's
and,
done
and
it.
that just, like, confused the heck out of me.
And I would just about guarantee that Coach Carr
Yep.
told him to do that. They saw something that you've done. He's like, hey, you got to change it, because you can't game plan against Coach Carr, man. He's one of the best in the world at game planning for somebody.
No, and I was very one-dimensional.
So, get on that leg. He puts a whizzer in. Now, you know enough to hook that ankle, but just couldn't get it. You guys are wrestling really, I mean, just because no points are being scored doesn't mean you're not wrestling. Wrestling hard. All right, so he's trying for like a front headlock. You're not having any of that.
He's trying for the neck
Yep.
wrench.
All right, it might be the fastest first period in the history of wrestling. Now, we're neutral here. I'm not sure who chose. It was already cut.
I think he chose.
He chose neutral? Okay. So, again, I bet they saw something in you.
Yep.
They was like, don't want to be on the ground with this guy.
That was a good decision, too.
Oh, yeah, of course. So he shoots in, gets pretty deep,
Here we go.
and of course, you get your two right there. And this is pretty much going to be all she wrote.
Tell you something after the match about that.
Because you hook that cradle. He's trying to fight. You get the pin. Look at that, man.
I remember being that big. I don't remember being that angry.
Oh man, that's celebration, man. You apologize to the ref there, but I mean it's just won the state finals, man. You got a little bit of emotion. There you are, man. All those pounds cut. It's Coach Carr and Coach Parks.
Yeah, I was apologizing to him too.
Oh.
So that look there at the end. Somebody asked. I think it was Coach. It was somebody asked, like, so was Billy excited? And Coach said he was relieved.
That's a good word. I like that. That's a good word.
So that cradle, I could not hit that on him at the Dragon Invitational. Couldn't do it. And, you know, I got it on twice before. So I actually had my own mat coach who just, like, they kind of gave up on putting me in the mold.
Right.
So Jeremy Jackson, who I think teaches at Trinity now, was my mat coach.
Very possible.
And so, like, I was allowed to do weird things, like choose top. And he actually was the one who told me what to do there. Just jam that back leg, because he was bracing out on it,
Right.
with either my leg, or just, instead of just kind of rolling them up, just
Right.
pop it, and it worked.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you can tell as soon as you get your 2, you're going for it. I mean, you can tell that there's no other, you're not trying anything else, you're going straight for that cradle. And, I mean, it worked. I mean, it was ran to absolute perfection right there. And so you won it with, I think, 33 seconds into the,
Looks like it.
You get your 2 minutes, 33 seconds PM. And St. X is, so far, they've 2 state champions. You still got Will in heavyweight. I mean, chasing that team title, come up just a couple points short, man.
Yeah, and I can't remember when it was out of reach. Like, I don't know if it was out of reach at this point.
I know they had Michael win it, and I'm not sure who else won it for Woodford that year.
Gentry, 145.
John Gentry? Okay, that was, all right, so that may have been, so I guess he wrestled right before you, didn't he?
Yep.
Okay,
no,
that's
I actually wrestled him junior year.
Oh, did you?
Yep.
Okay. I think Tyler Baldwin said John Gentry might be one of Woodford's best one-time state champions. Of course, I have the video. We just got to get up with John. I think we're going to maybe have a day in the spring or summer, somebody's house. We get a lot of these Woodford County guys together and do a session with them, maybe make some food at somebody's house or whatever the case is. But, man, watching it through, besides the ending, did it play out the way you remembered it?
Yeah, I guess there was a little bit more activity in the first period, but I just remember being confused.
Yeah, and I would just about, when I see Coach Carr, I'll ask him about that, because you ask Coach Carr about a match from whatever, he can tell you just about anything you want to know about. We practiced this in practice. This was we knew this kid was really good with the shot, so we done this and we game planned around it. But it's cool that we know St. X has a huge alumni following, a huge fan base, if you will, that keeps up even after they leave the 4 years there of being a Tiger. It never leaves them. A lot of schools are like that. And we know you're a very well-known, popular guy, so a lot of people are going to be watching this. And, of course, I think now you have some kids, correct?
Yeah, we've got 2 of them. I didn't bring them. It's been a day.
I can understand. So I'm sure when they want to watch Dad wrestle, and I'm sure all the family's going to want to watch this video and just, take it back and remember. Well, Dad, you really were that big? Dad, whoa, what's going on here? Man, any closing words, anything to wrap it up?
No, just thanks to Tony Perry for keeping my head straight, and thanks to Coach Jackson for telling me how to do what I did best at Dragon Invitational. At least I couldn't get it done. And
I guess it kind of worked in your favor, wrestling him that many times throughout the year. Like, did you know, like, you guys were, like, you 3 were probably the best, you, Jeremiah, or Gyron, and Ralph were the 3, like, okay, there's going to be one of us.
So Ralph was a really good guy. Bumped into him at the state tournament the next year, and we talked a little bit. He was scrappy and always put in the work. The 2 most technically gifted people were Jeremiah Gyron and Nathan Schmidt. And Gyron was the one I was just terrified of.
Again, thanks for having me.
Thanks for doing it, Alex.
Really
and thanks for all
appreciate
the work
it.
you put into the history.
And I'm glad we were able to get together. Like I said, we've been planning this and trying to get together for going on a year.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Going on a year. Today was the day we made some magic happen, I guess, if you will, and got your story to be able to be told, man, and add another St. Xavier Tiger. So we got you, Chris Zinner, Tendai, and Isaac. I'd put those 4 up against any 4. I'd take those against anybody, because you guys got Chris at 103. Isaac could pick one of his 4. Tendai at 160, 171. You 152. Name me a tougher 4.
Yeah, we were decent.
Name me a team a 4 team of 4 that's beating that. But guys, that's all we got. Thanks for Billy for having me. I really appreciate it. And you guys, before we wrap it up, you guys are seeing a list of the videos I have. If you have a year that I don't, please reach out to me. We can tell more stories. Have more guys like Billy here. We can tell their story and get them on the channel and make Kentucky Wrestling the best review series on the entire interwebs, as the kids are calling it. So that's all I got. We'll see you guys on the mats.